year-old stablecoin innovator found dead after tweeting about CIA and the Mossad pedo elite. Mossad? This is wild, bro. Coming from Zero Hedge, a prominent figure in cryptocurrencies who claimed his ex-girlfriend was a spy and thought he might be suicided by the CIA, was found dead one day after tweeting about an alleged sex trafficking, entrapment, blackmail ring out of Puerto Rico and the Caribbean islands. Whew, this goes... Look, guys, we're going to have to put a disclaimer out there. Throw on the tinfoil hats. Get ready for a little bit of conspiracy as we get into this, because there is no proof of this, and this is just going to be wild. Okay? This is like Alex Jones level wild, beyond that possibly, really. So let's take all of this with a grain of salt. Nikolai Arcadia Mushkin? I don't know. I can't pronounce that. The 29-year-old founder of MakerDAO, Balancer Labs, and the decentralized DAI stablecoin was found dead last Friday in San Juan, Puerto Rico. According to local officials, he was swept away by sea currents behind Ashford Hospital in Condado and drowned. On October 29th, Tether.to co-founder Craig Sellers tweeted of Mushigan's death, noting that it came 5 days after the MakerDAO community approved custodian partnership with Coinbase. So there's the tweet. It says rest in peace. And while trustnodes.com notes that Condado is considered a dangerous beach with strong undercurrents, Mushkin's death comes days after he tweeted CIA and Mossad and pedo elite are running some kind of sex trafficking, entrapment, blackmail ring out of Puerto Rico and Caribbean islands, adding that they are going to frame me with a laptop planted by my ex-girlfriend who is a spy. They will torture me to death. Wild, bro. That's a wild tweet to send out. That was on October 28th, 2022. We're hitting the hype train, boys. Level 3 hype train. We can share that out. Thank you, guys. Hell yeah. Let me get the alerts going so that pops. Oh, we forgot to turn the... We didn't have this on. There you go. Boom. All right. So this isn't the first time he tweeted about potential wet works. On September 4th, he laid out 3 possible futures for me. 1, suicided by CIA. 2, CIA brain damage slave asset. And 3, worst nightmare of people who fucked with me up until now. Bro. He might have been mentally ill, guys, too. It's like, this is one of those ones that, like... It's like, have you guys watched The Terminal List? It reminds me of, like, The Terminal List, where, like, I think, like, the first few episodes, like, you really couldn't tell if he was crazy or if a conspiracy was really happening, because they had done that. He had that brain tumor or whatever. And you're trying to figure out, like, if he was crazy. I feel like this is like that story. Like, you'll never know if he was, like, crazy or if there was really a conspiracy behind it. In August, he tweeted, "Let it be known that if I somehow set up and framed or shot, it wasn't through sophisticated actions, but from sheer perseverance by people with infinite time and money to waste." On September 24th, he tweeted, "Imagine how evil someone has to be to transform me from anti-state crypto-anarchist of 12 years to someone who prays to God to guide the top of the food chain national security feds and their ancient karmic laws of banking handlers to come demolish this Illuminati roleplay circle jerk." Holy shit. Dude, pull it in. Pull it in. He also had his own website where he talked about various projects and what inspired him. These projects include the DAI Fork RAI, Balancer, and DAI, among many other initiatives. In a world where everybody in the crypto space seems to have an opinion, Mushkin was notably quiet. He predominantly let his development do the talking, offering his thoughts on various aspects on the market occasionally. I don't think I agree with that, because he clearly had these tweets that were going out that sounded like he was worried about, like, it was clear that he was worried about something. I guess from an opinion, he wasn't stating opinion. except for no, he was stating opinion because he was saying thinks he would get like suicide. So I don't know if I agree with that statement. That's just a perception from being crypto. Mushkian was also a charitable figure, donating over $1 million to his alma mater, Carnegie Mellon, in 2020. He wished to support a research program for decentralized technologies, including dApps and protocols. As TrustNodes further notes, quote, "This is the second death by drowning of a Kryptonian in 15 months, with the far better known old-time Bitcoiner Mircea Popescu drowning in Costa Rica in June of last year. Of course, we're sure fact checkers will be all over the notoriously dangerous tides at Condado and baseless conspiracy theories. What say you?" Well, baseless conspiracy theory, maybe not. But, if you looked at this at face value, personally, I would say maybe some mental health issues going on, along with a strong case of paranoia, and like that could be the case, right? Like, and we all experience that, right? Like, we all experience definitely within the crypto space some paranoia surrounding what happens, and it doesn't make things easy when we see like the release of the article and information from The Intercept on the Department of Homeland Security, literally changing narratives through big social media and big social media sites and big tech, right? So you see truth, right? Things that are like true conspiracies, and then it's not hard to like start to be paranoid about everything else, right? And I think like one of the key things like I try to work on as well is like disconnecting to a certain extent, where like, for example, when we went like trick or treating and stuff, I don't take my cell phone because I just want to focus on the moment and make sure that like we're, paying attention to the kids and being present with them and not being distracted by pretty much all the influx of information that comes through the internet like that. And if you are in a position where you're participating in crypto and you do see like the clear thing, like, look, if you're looking at DAI and you're looking at a stable coin and the impact it has on governments not being able to control their people, when we're talking about Argentina, for example, and the banks in Argentina not being able to make the decision on who can and cannot, purchase the US dollar as a reserve currency because you have a stablecoin option through cryptocurrency that they can't regulate, then you could say, okay, well, obviously somebody might not like that, and they might not like somebody that developed the capability of doing that, right? It was clear that in the Department of Homeland Security notes that they targeted sovereign individuals. What are sovereign individuals? They're individuals that aren't dependent on a centralized entity like a government or a government or a bank, right? A third party. So it is clear, like it is true that there is basically a bit of a movement from the nation state or from governments against individuals, right? But at the same time, you have to take all of this stuff with a grain of salt and be extremely careful when you approach it. Anyways, I think it's fascinating, to say the least. Unfortunately, rest in peace, sir. And I hope that, this doesn't essentially put DAI and MakerDAO and all that too far behind. Balancer Labs, etc. So we got more people hopping up in chat. Did the highlights give you hype? No, they do not, .net, but thank you, good sir. Thanks for the follow, Spinning Rust, and welcome to the Suns on Twitch. Hope you're having a good day. And Jojo Sand Salad said, choo choo. Yes, sir. And says, beautiful mind, anyone? So beautiful mind in relation to that article, I believe. We got Dog Bollocks coming in, says it's a thin line between genius and insanity. Well, and that's the hard part too. Do you think obviously he was a genius. Like you don't come up, you're not a developer for friggin', you're not a founder of MakerDAO and DAI stablecoin unless you're brilliant, right? For sure. But, it's also, I don't think, fair to say that because he's brilliant that he's insane too. Right? Because the fact of the matter is we don't have the facts. Like, we don't know for sure. And like I said, when we look at things like the release of all the information from the DHS, and even like what more stuff coming out from like communications that Elon Musk is releasing between Twitter and the government, you have to sit back and say, okay, you know, how much of this could be possibly valid?